Do you want to learn how to become a real estate photographer? Check out my course, How to Become a Real Estate Photographer, at rickmcavoyphotography.com. You've just unboxed your first proper camera. Maybe it's a present, maybe you've saved up for months, or maybe you just decided it was time to take your photography seriously. Whatever the reason, you're standing there with this beautiful piece of kit in your hands, and honestly, it's a bit overwhelming. Yes, it is. All those dials, buttons, menu options, where do you even begin? Should you read the manual cover to cover? Jump straight into taking photos? Watch 17 hours of YouTube tutorials? Good questions, Rick. Well, here's the thing. That first week with your new camera is absolutely crucial. Get it right and you'll build confidence, develop good habits, and actually enjoy the learning process. Get it wrong, and that camera might end up gathering dust in a cupboard long before Valentine's Day, and we don't want that, do we? No, we don't, Rick. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do in your first week with your new camera. No jargon, no technical overwhelm, just practical, actionable steps that'll have you taking photos you're proud of by the end of the week. Hello and welcome to episode 225, blimey, of the Photography Explained podcast. This episode is titled, I Just Got My First Camera, What Do I Do in the First Week? A very good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening to you, wherever you are in the world and whatever time of day you find yourself listening to me. I'm your host Rick. Hi, and in each episode I try to explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 27 minutes-ish without the irrelevant details. Yes, really. I'm a professionally qualified photographer based in England with a lifetime of photographic experience, which I share with you in my splendid podcast. Right then, dear listener, your first week with a new camera should be enjoyable, not stressful. It should build your confidence, not destroy it. And it should set you up for years of photographic fun, not put you off before you've even started. We don't want that, do we? So over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you 7 practical things to do with your new camera in that crucial first week. They're simple, enjoyable activities that'll help you understand your camera, build good habits, and most importantly, start taking photos you actually like. Okay, I can't claim that charging your batteries is enjoyable, but it's an important one. Talking of which, number 1, charge the battery and format your memory card. I know, you just want to take photos, not faff around with batteries and memory cards. But trust me on this one, dear listener. First thing you need to do, charge that battery fully before you do anything else. Yes, it might have a bit of charge out of the box, but you want to start with a full tank, don't you? Pop it on charge, and while you're waiting, move on to tip number 2. And once the battery's fully charged, pop in your memory card and format it in the camera. Don't just delete the old files if it's a used card. Format it properly through the camera's menu. This sets up the card correctly for your specific camera, and it prevents all sorts of frustrating problems down the line. Very important, format memory cards in the camera you're going to use them in. And here's why this matters. Nothing kills your enthusiasm faster than your camera dying halfway through your first proper photo walk, or getting an error message because your memory card wasn't set up properly, or finding when you get home and download your photos to your computer, you haven't got any. We don't want that. Get these basics sorted on day 1 before you take a photo, and you're building a foundation for success. Okay, tip 2, read the manual, or the quick start guide at least. Yes, while that battery's charging, what are you going to do? Well, you can read the manual, that's what you should be doing. Now, I know, your eyes are glazing over already, aren't they? Camera manuals are not exactly thrilling reads, are they? It can sometimes feel like they're written by engineers for engineers, full of technical specifications and confusing terminology. You don't have to read the whole thing if you don't want to, although I would recommend that you do this, and that is what I would do. But I get that you want to take some photos with your shiny new loveliness, of course you do. Now, every camera should come with a quick start guide or a part of the manual which gets you up and running quickly. It's either a folded piece of paper, a small booklet, or it's the introductory part of the full manual. This is your friend. This tells you the basics in plain English. How to attach the lens, how to turn the camera on, where the important buttons are, how to take your first photo. So spend time doing this while your battery's charging, because you're not using your camera while your battery's charging, are you? Just go through the basics. You're not trying to become an expert. You're just getting orientated. You're just getting to know your camera. You just need to know the highlights to start with. Have a quick scan through the table of contents in the main manual. You don't need to read it, but I still recommend that you do. But if you have a quick scan through the menus, you'll have an idea of what's in there and what you've got to look forward to as you dive into learning your camera properly, which you need to do at some point. I know it's tempting just to dive in and start pressing buttons, but this brief investment in time, it could save you hours of frustration later. You'll know where things are, you'll understand the basic menu structure, and you won't accidentally change some weird setting that takes you 3 weeks to fix. And that can happen. There are custom settings in there you might not want to have on. Okay, so read that quick start guide. Your future self will thank you. And if you do that, feel free to thank me. And your battery might take a while to fully charge anyway, so this is time very well spent. Tip 3, get comfortable holding your camera. This might sound obvious, but how you hold your camera makes a massive difference to your photos, seriously. Spend some time, maybe 15-20 minutes, just holding your camera in different positions. Stand up, sit down, hold it at eye level, hold it low, hold it high. Get a feel for its weight and balance. Find a grip that feels natural and secure. Here's a proper technique, and it's times like this that I wish I had my camera with me, but it's a long story, I won't bore you with it now. Your right hand grips the camera body with your finger resting gently on the shutter button. Your left hand supports the camera body and the lens from underneath. You're not gripping it from the side like you're strangling it. Elbows tucked in against your body, not sticking out like chicken wings. This creates a stable platform that'll give you sharper photos. Practice bringing the camera smoothly up to your eye and back down again. Do this until it feels natural, not awkward. You want this to become muscle memory, so when you see something worth photographing, you can grab your camera and shoot without fumbling. And here's a little trick. When you're holding the camera to your eye, breathe out gently as you press the shutter button. It reduces camera shake. Small detail, I know, but it makes a difference. And gently press the shutter button, rolling your finger over it gently, rather than stabbing it with the end of your finger. And also, you need to practice holding your camera in front of you and taking photos using the LCD screen. I don't do that. One of the reasons I love using a camera is because it's got a viewfinder. I can put my eye to the viewfinder and it excludes the whole world. Obviously, I've got to shut the other eye, haven't I? Right, time to actually take some photos. Next tip, shoot in auto mode and explore your environment. Okay, your battery's charged, your memory card's formatted, you've read the quick start guide and maybe the whole manual. It's time to actually take some photos. For your first couple of days, keep your camera in auto mode. I can hear some photographers gasping in horror, but listen, auto mode lets you focus on seeing and composing rather than fighting with settings you don't understand yet. There's plenty of time to learn manual mode later, and all those semi-automatic modes. Now, the mode I'm talking about, it might be called program mode, it might have a letter P, it might have a green square, it just depends on your camera. But you know which mode it is, because you've already found it in your quick start guide, haven't you? Yes, you have. So take your camera with you everywhere for the next few days. Photograph your home, not for social media mind, just for practice. Photograph your garden, your street, your local park. Take photos of everyday objects. Your coffee cup, your bookshelf, your cat looking judgmental. Cats are excellent photo subjects, by the way. You're not trying to create masterpieces. Well, if you do, that's a bonus, isn't it? You're getting comfortable pressing that shutter button, seeing photographic opportunities in ordinary moments, and understanding how your camera responds to different situations. Take lots of photos, and I don't say that all the time, do I? Take way more than you think you need. You're not wasting anything in the beginning. It's digital after all. This is how you learn what works and what doesn't work. And I need to say here, just to qualify this, once you know how your camera works and you're proficient with it, please listen to episode 152 about my one photo rule. There, that's that covered. Phew. Review your photos and learn from them. Every evening in your first week, spend 15 minutes looking at the photos you took that day. This is how utterly splendid learning happens. Don't just glance at them on the LCD screen on the back of your camera. Download them to a computer or tablet so you can see them properly. Look at each photo and ask yourself, do I like this photo? Why do I like it? Why don't I like it? What would I do differently next time? You'll start noticing patterns. Maybe your photos are consistently too dark. Maybe they're too bright. Maybe things aren't quite in focus. Maybe your horizons are wonky. And don't worry, everyone does wonky horizons to start with. These observations are the gold dust, dear listener, because they tell you exactly what to work on. And here's another thing. Be kind to yourself. Don't expect professional results in week 1. Even experienced photographers can take rubbish photos. I should know. I do. The difference is they know how to recognise what works and what doesn't, and you're just learning that right now, so give yourself a break. Make a little folder of your favourite photos from each day. By the end of the week, you'll have 35 photos-ish that you actually like, and you'll be able to see your progress. And that's incredibly motivating. Okay, next tip, take photos at different times of day. Light changes dramatically throughout the day, and your camera sees these changes differently than your eyes do. On day 5 or 6, choose one specific subject. Maybe a tree in your garden, a building on your street, chair by the window, and photograph that same subject at several different times throughout a single day. Early morning, mid-morning, lunchtime, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, golden hour, you get the idea. And have a look at the results. You'll be amazed at the difference. You'll see how golden morning light makes everything look warm and inviting, how harsh midday sun creates strong shadows, how soft evening light makes everything look magical. Same subject, completely different photos, just because of the light. This exercise teaches you about light faster than any book or video ever could. And understanding light is literally the most important thing in photography. The word photography means writing or drawing with light after all. Yep, you'll quickly learn your favourite times to take photographs, and you'll just start planning photo walks around the light. And once that happens, you've started your journey in becoming a photographer. Yep, that's what happens. That's proper photographer thinking, that is. Okay, the last tip, join a photography community or find a friend. Photography is more fun when you share it with others. By the end of your first week, find your people. Now, this could be an online community. There are loads of friendly photography groups where beginners are welcomed and encouraged. Or it could be a local camera club. Face-to-face with like-minded people gets my vote here. Or maybe you just know somebody else who's got a camera who'd enjoy going out taking photos with you. The best option? Find someone who's just a bit ahead of you in their photography journey. Not a professional who'll make you feel inadequate, but someone who remembers what it's like to be a beginner and can share what they've learned. Share your photos, ask questions, get feedback, learn from others' photos. This social element, it can transform photography from a solitary hobby, which it can be, into a shared passion, and it massively accelerates your learning. And having a photo buddy means you're more likely to actually get out and use your camera regularly, rather than leaving it in the bag because you can't be bothered to go out on your own, which is understandable. Right, quick recap. Let me quickly recap those 7 things to do in your first week with your new camera. Tip 1. Charge that battery fully and format your memory card properly. Get the boring but important stuff sorted first. Tip 2. Read the manual or at least the quick start guide. This time will save you hours of frustration. Tip 3. Get comfortable holding your camera. Build that muscle memory from day 1. Tip 4. Shoot in auto mode and explore your environment. Take loads of photos without worrying about technical settings. Tip 5. Review your photos every evening and learn from them. This is where the real learning happens. Tip 6. Take photos at different times of day. Discover how light changes everything. And finally, tip 7. Join a photography community or find a friend. Share the journey with others. It's good to share. Do these 7 things and by the end of your first week, you'll be confident with your camera. You'll have dozens of photos you're genuinely pleased with, hopefully. And hopefully you'll be hooked on photography for life. Yes, really. Right, what if I use a phone? Well, this is aimed at people taking photos with the phones, moving on to a camera, so I can move on as well, can't I? What do I do? Now, let me tell you what I did when I got my first proper camera. This was many, many years ago, by the way, dear listener. First thing I did, I put everything together and I went out and took a load of photos. Yeah, I did none of the things that I've told you to do. Well, I didn't know any better then, did I? But when I bought my last camera, this is what I did, having learned some stuff along the way. I read the manual. I really did. All of it. Twice. Every single page. Which was completely unnecessary, I know, but I'm a thorough sort of person. I know the quick start guide would have been enough, which is exactly why I'm telling you to read that, and not the entire manual like I did, unless you want to. I also bought a book about how to use the camera, which I also went through. Now, I didn't read this cover to cover, but I used it to add to what I was learning in the camera manual, which is always a good thing to do. But only buy one book, don't buy 3 books, which is what I did once. See, my theory was if I got all the books in the world, I'd be the best photographer. And do you know what happened? I never read them. Nope, that's what I did. So don't do that. Buy the best one book that you can and have it with you. And then I changed the settings to suit me. I set up my camera to work for me, and I learned every setting. And then I was good to go. And as it turns out, I was good to go for well over a decade. So that's what you're doing in your first week. You're not trying to be Ansel Adams. You're just getting to know your camera like you get to know a new friend. And that's how utterly splendid relationships begin, isn't it? With time spent together, learning each other's quirks and capabilities. Right, dear listener, here's something for you to do. Here's your challenge for this week, and it's a simple one. Choose one location. It could be your living room, your garden, your local high street, your kitchen table, and over the course of the week, take 20 different photos there. 20 different photos, mind you, not 20 identical ones. The key word here is variety. Try different angles, high, low, close, back. Focus on different subjects within that space. Experiment with different settings on your camera. Try landscape orientation and portrait orientation. Look for details you've never noticed before. Trees are great subjects for this. They're great things to learn to take photos with because they're great. And if you've got one you can get to quickly, go with that. That's what I'd do. And by the end of the week, pick your 5 favourite photos and really look at them. What makes them your favourites? Is it the angle, the subject, the composition, the settings that you used? What worked for you? And also ask yourself, what don't I like about this photo? Then, and this is the important bit, tell me all about it. Send me a message through my website or text me directly from the podcast feed. Tell me what you learned. Show me your favourite photo if you like. I genuinely love hearing from listeners about these challenges. This exercise will teach you more about photography than reading a book, I promise you. And it will start your journey into photography nicely. Right, related episodes. Now, dear listener, if you're enjoying this episode, and I hope that you are, and you want to dive deeper into some of these topics, I've got some previous episodes you might find helpful. Episode 9, How Can I Learn to Use My New Camera? It's perfect if you want more detailed guidance on getting started with your camera and understanding all those buttons and settings. Episode 17, What Time of Day is Best to Take Photos? This expands on the exercise about photographing at different times, and it explains exactly what's happening with light throughout the day. And episode 104, 10 camera settings for beginners, is brilliant for when you're ready to move beyond auto mode and start understanding what all those settings actually do. And finally, I touched on it before, episode 152, How My One Photo Rule Will Help You Take Better Photos. This shares a very simple but very powerful approach that will transform how you think about every photo that you take. But don't do that until you've worked out how your camera works properly. Once you've understood it, you can bring that thinking in. What this does is it makes you think before you take a photo, and that will help improve your photos too. See, it's all good stuff, isn't it? Yes, all these episodes are waiting for you in the back catalogue, ready to take your photography to the next level. Have a listen when you've got the time. Right, next episode. In the next episode, I'm going to be answering a question I get asked all the time. Why are my photos too dark? Understanding exposure for beginners. I'll explain exactly what's happening when your photos come out too dark. And more importantly, I'll give you simple, practical solutions you can use immediately to get perfectly exposed photos. It's going to be really useful, especially if you've just got your first camera and are wondering why some of your photos aren't quite right. Get in touch and subscribe. If you've enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes? They're published fortnightly on a Friday. And for everything else, check out rickmcavoyphotography.com, my shiny website, where you can ask me questions, get my weekly email, and get in touch with me. And you can find me on YouTube by searching, just put Rick McAvoy into the search, and you'll find me soon enough. And you can text me directly from the podcast feed. I nearly forgot about that. And check out my courses page for my How to Become a Real Estate Photographer course. And my resources page, rickmcavoyphotography.com/resources, which takes you to all sorts of splendid things. This episode was brought to you by a cheese and pickle sandwich. Yes, it really was. And a Coke Zero, which I consumed before settling into my homemade, acoustically cushioned recording emporium. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again very much for listening and for giving me 27-ish minutes of your valuable time. Now, this episode will be about, 22, 23 minutes long after I've edited out the mistakes and the other bad stuff. Thanks for listening. Take care. Stay safe. Cheers from me, Rick. How to become a real estate photographer. rickmcavoyphotography.com/courses.